Hello my fellow gamers and welcome once again to Perafilozof City Skylines videos. In this one I'll be continuing to build up the city in which I plan to reach 1 million population on the hard mode. There are a few things that I need to try out that my subscribers have suggested. One of these suggestions is to remove the pet ban in order to increase the happiness level of my teams. I would need to do this across the city, so that would be done by going into the city policies, engaging the pet ban across the city and then disengaging it, and that should remove the pet ban across every single district. What my subscriber has suggested is that this would lead to the increased amount of happiness for residential areas and then an increase in the demand. So let us try this out. I'm going to quickly save, of course, before I actually do this. Going to speed 3, pet ban on, pet ban off. Now no areas will have pet ban across the city. Over here I think it is the heavy traffic ban, so the only ban is the heavy traffic in those few areas. There's no more pet ban. This will also influence the amount of garbage created. Now I am creating 1,050,000 units per week and have the capacity for 960, so I will need to turn on some more incinerators. The problem is this does cost a lot, 1,800, and I don't think even this will be enough. I need to engage one more incinerator, and now I will have enough capacity. So removing the pet ban has cost me 3,600 in the maintenance costs. Now the question is this going to lead to a higher happiness level? For now it still seems to be at 88%, and I do not see an immediate increase in the population numbers, still around 121,026. I have just enough incinerator capacity, so if I want to expand the city I will need to build even more. This is rather terrible because of my balance, where I had these two incineration plants per every corner, although I did have the additional two over here. So this will not only cost me 3,600 per week, but it will also require even more incinerators than I did before with the previous balance with the pet ban on. But let's see, is there any benefit to removing the pet ban? 88% residential happiness still. The amount of population pretty much at the same rate. There's a higher birth rate than the death rate, so that's where the extra sims come from, although I seem to see it going even up to 160 plus. Well, I can't say that this has had an immediate impact. I guess I might need to run the game a little bit more in order to make sure that this does something. Maybe more buildings would level, although I haven't heard any leveling up sounds lately since I removed the pet ban. There's still no demand, and I have not seen any new buildings being built up in the residential zones. Still pretty much the same as when I started the video. So basically I don't think that removing the pet ban has helped. I mean, it does say on the tooltip itself that it is only a slight decrease in happiness, slightly decreased happiness for a slightly reduced garbage accumulation. Well, my conclusion at this point would be that removing the pet ban did not accomplish the required task, and I haven't gained more sims because of it, nor have I increased their happiness. So at this point I will just load up the game before I did this. Alright, and we are back to before I disengage the pet ban. The amount of garbage is going to stay where it was before. I seem to have more garbage production than I have the incinerator capacity, so at this point I should probably get one more online. This one over here. And now I need to take a look at the other suggestion from my subscribers. It is to add passenger train stations as a service, because I have some areas that require more services to level up, like the offices here, for example. They say, actually this one says educate more. That will lead me to another suggestion from my subscribers in a moment. But let's find one of them who says, you see here, building needs more services to upgrade. So that's pretty much what all of my offices at level 2 say, need more services to level up. So my subscriber's suggestion was to get passenger train stations. Now he himself noticed that this would not fit my current city design because I wouldn't have where to put them. But what I said to him was that I noticed that some of them are far more used, the cargo train stations, some of them are far more used than others. And you can see that most blatantly here, where this one continuously has good usage while this one has periodic usage. Actually at the moment they seem to both have equal usage, but generally speaking it's usually one that has more usage than the other one. So for example, this one here has far less usage than this one here. And what I thought was that I might as well then try and switch one of these cargo train station for passenger train station, and then see if the offices that are here close by would count that as an increase in the number of services that they are covered with, and that they might level up to level 3. So let's again quick save before I do anything and see how is this gonna work out. I'll pause the game, bulldoze this one, take up a passenger train station. Here it is. This is the passenger one. I'll plop it, although it is a bit smaller than the cargo train, a bit thinner, so it wouldn't fit here as well as this one did. I will need to add a little bit more road service here. So like this. And now to add the passenger train station here. Should be able to connect easily with this thing and the existing network. And here, oops. Alright, this should work out. So now that this comes online, it should start getting passenger trains here, and I should see if the happiness of the offices, or should I say the leveling, will gain another service coverage. I think it's time to go to speed 3 and see if this increases the amount of services that are covering the offices, and if they are going to level up because of the extra passenger train station. It costs a bit less than the cargo one. It costs 1,200 per week. The cargo one costs 1,800 per week, so it even saves me a little bit of money. Well, I'm not sure has this really done much. I think I need to see, are there any happy faces or unhappy faces. Okay, here we go. So the area effect is rather small, and I do not see any offices leveling because of the additional passenger train station. I guess even if it has an effect, it's not a strong enough effect to get half a level up here to level 3, so not even this will help as an extra service for the offices to level up to level 3. Although there are still 0 passengers served per week, perhaps I should try and get another passenger train station so that there is a connection between the two. So let's say I use a passenger train station here. Alright, but I can't build on the highway ramp. I have to use an actual 2-lane one-way, and then on that I can build a passenger train station like this. Now just to connect. and over here as well. There we go, it's connected. It should start working. There we go. Now let's see, are there going to be passenger trains that are going to service this train station and connect it with this one over here. Now, one of my subscribers also said something about a scroll up and down. I believe he wanted to see the city from a bird's eye view like this. So here it is. These are the first two tiles, and here's the third one, which is expanding over here. My population is at 121,000, and I believe that's what it was in the beginning of the video as well. So no increases there. Still no residential demand. The number of jobs is 2,500 less than the population has the workers for. So that means that I do have enough jobs. It is just that I do not have a residential demand, which is slowing down my expansion pretty much. Here we see that passenger service last week is still at 0, so this isn't helping. How about down here, the additional train station? Has it managed to level up any offices? Nope, they're still at level 2, so that did not help with that. And still nobody uses them. I'm not sure why. Is it because my public transportation is good enough that they do not need the passenger train stations? Well, I guess this is pretty much it. There's not much I can do about it. Alright, one more thing that I forgot to take a look at was how's the lake developing. Actually, was it reducing in the amount of water it had? I think this is pretty much the same amount of water we had in the previous episode, so nothing yet. And there might actually be a source of water, because when you look at this point here, you can see that there are arrows pointing in every which side, which means that this may be a source of the water. I thought it may be just water left over from building the map, and that there would not be a water source, but considering the fact how the water seems to be going into each direction from here, it may be that there is a source of water here, and then I could keep draining the water and still have enough, so I could switch over all the capacity from here into draining the lake. There are only 5 of these left here, and the pollution, I believe, is still far away from them. So how are the passenger train stations? Still 0 usage, and this one over here 36. So finally somebody is using this one. I see a passenger train station coming in. I'm not sure where I can see the usage. I believe here. Yeah, here we go. 2 per week it says, probably for the previous week. Maybe this week there will be more usage out of it. So did moving Sims around actually lead to what is going on? I think I ran out of power. Alright, electricity consumption 1300 and production 1100? What? Let's see, where did this happen? Why would the production... Unless there is... Oh, right, a fire here. That's why the production went down, because a solar power plant is on fire. Okay, I think this will fix itself up very quickly. They're going to douse the flames, and then once it's back in business, power output normal, and now everything goes back to normal. Alright. So it might not be a bad idea to have at least one solar power plant as a backup to turn on when one of them goes on into flames. See, passengers 90, now 7, over here 6 per week. Oh, right, these are tourists and these are the passengers, citizens. So not much usage out of this thing. And the leveling effect, well, no effect. Okay, well, that's another suggestion. Try it out and test it. Now let me go back to the previous save. Alright, and now for the last suggestion is for education to be covering the entire city. At the moment I have eligible 6,000, almost 7,000 for elementary schools, capacity 7,200, so enough capacity for all of my teams to be educated in the elementary schools. The elementary schools are covering pretty much every single area, there's plenty of them, and the area of effect is kinda everywhere except maybe not in this area here, because I have a very wide area while I have elementary schools on the parts where I have residential. So it is one of the things that I'm going to see about fixing. I'm going to turn off the ones that I have doubled up here. This one is turned off and this one is already turned off, and then I will add one here where I have the least amount of effect. That'll be here. Elementary school placed right here. Now this should give an area of effect all over this area here. When it goes green, there we go. And this should increase the coverage by services, as these offices seem to consider schools as a service. Now let's see, is this building going to level up? Strange. No, it says... Well, this shop leveled, but for some reason this thing went from being all the way up to level 2 to just being at level 1. Very odd. And this one has yet to level up as well. There we go, it leveled. So yeah, you have to have school coverage on your offices for them to actually consider them as a service. So expanding the coverage from schools is a way to level up the offices. Now another thing that I need to increase is the high schools. I do not have any coverage here, while I do have some of the offices here, not that many, while in some of the other areas I have a lot more of them, and yet no coverage from high schools. Actually this area here does have coverage from high schools, while this area over here kinda has, but not that well. So I'm going to add a high school over here. And I do need a lot more high schools to have maximum capacity. So that would be a high school here. And it is counted as a service, so it should help in increasing the level for the offices. It also has a beneficial effect for the residential, and they level up as well. As you can see here, now massive leveling up starts happening when I add a high school. Now, any other areas that could benefit from a high school, like I said, over here perhaps. Over here I have just these two. Over here I have 1, 2, 3 down here and 2 over here. So I'm not sure where exactly could I add one more. I think I need 2 more in total. So I'm thinking over here I will add 1. And see if that starts the leveling up process in here as well. Here we go. Some commercial actually increased in level, which is interesting. Did not expect that. Now some homes are gonna level up. And I need to find one more spot for a high school. 3 over here, 3 over here. 2 of each in here, 3 here, 3 here, so I'm not sure where I could go with one more. I guess over here perhaps, instead of the hospital. Actually, sorry, this is the university, here's the hospital. Now, that's another thing that I've been thinking about, whether or not I could use hospitals instead of the clinics, because you can see that the effect the clinics are giving is not the color brightness that, for example, a police headquarters will give. so it's a bit darker, while this effect is lighter, which means it's stronger. The problem is the clinics cost 5 times less than a hospital, and for example in this area I have like 3 clinics, that's 1,500, while a hospital would cost 3,000. So I would need to spend a lot of money for that. I will need to see if I have the bank balance, the income available to build hospitals. If I do, I might build them. If I don't, I would simply not be able to. And let's add the last high school. Like I said, not sure where I should plop it. I guess I could try and find enough space here, because I do have a lot of Sims living in these areas. It won't fit anywhere in here. How about somewhere else? Over here, for example. I guess I could plop it here like this. Alright, and that should make sure that I have enough high school capacity. 16,000 capacity, eligible 15,700. The last stop are the universities. Now, I do have capacity for 18,000, while eligible is just 8,000, but look at this. 1,100 plus 1,100, that's 2,200, plus 1,300, that's 3,500. And when you add this is 4,600. Well, I have 8,000 eligible, which means that I'm going to need a university in this part of the city as well. I will plop it down here, and hopefully now I will have more students. And this number seems to be increasing, 4,800 something. Although it seems like they're just going to the closest one and the number stays the same, 4,800. The buildings will level up, more of them will gain a level because they are now covered by a university. But I was expecting this number of students to actually go up, because there are so many eligible and there are so many universities, yet not all of them seem to want to go and get high education. To be highly educated. I think now every part of the city has university coverage. Yep, pretty much. Maybe some of the areas on the edges do not, but I can't really spend that much money on universities to cover the outskirts as well. And there wasn't that much leveling up as expected, actually. It may be that it will take some time, because when you take a look at the universities, how would I call this, coverage or area of effect, there are lots of buildings in the areas where I had universities for a long time that are green, and even bright green, while here where there is a new university, there are only a few buildings that are bright green because they had went to this university over here. So now I am starting to lose money because of adding so many elementaries, high schools and universities. This could potentially lead to bigger problems, and I will need to increase my taxes because of this. 12% for low density residential and up to 10% for high density residential. Now, and what this will do will mean that the old parts of the city where I have the raised tax rates for high density buildings will have taxes at 12, while the newest ones, which have tax relief, are going to have taxes at 8, I believe. Yep, they are going to have taxes at 8. Why does this area look like it isn't covered by the district? Interesting. But I seem to have gained new buildings here. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 new residential buildings in this area. So it seems that increasing the education has finally provided me with some new residential buildings. So at least one of the suggestions from my subscribers has bears fruit, and I have more of these residential areas being filled. I should also check out some of the other ones. Here I had to build up some new as well, and they seem to be filling up here as well. Over here I had a few, but I had unzoned them previously, so I will now zone them back. And there were plenty of empty high density spots here. There's still a few of them empty here, but hopefully they will be filled up as well with new residents. The population actually dropped a little bit. It's 1,287. The leveling does not seem to have managed to make any offices go to level 3. Most of them are still at level 2, a few at level 1. The residential and commercial districts did go up a little bit in the leveling up, so at that point that's okay. How's the number of jobs? 65,000 jobs open, 62,000 jobs filled, so 3,000 jobs left to be filled. The population still hovers around 120,000, 121,000, so that has not increased. The amount of power that I have, I will need to turn on a new solar power plant. I'll just see which one. That would be this one over here. It's probably gonna start producing more noise pollution here. Hopefully it's not gonna make any teams go abandon buildings. Not enough workers, yes, I'm well aware of that. And probably because it was level 1 or level 2. But so over here, citizens are sick. Pollution, right. Another thing one of my subscribers said, that I had a lot of pollution. But that was actually for the buildings down here. That the pollution from the incinerators was very close to the residential area. But why is this guy sick? There's almost no pollution here, and yet he's sick. Well, I don't know, I will just leave it like that. Can't really dezone it just because it's so little pollution. And have I covered this area with all the stations that are necessary? I believe I have. When I get a cross street here, I will get more stations to go onto these streets. Well, I did manage to add more buildings, but not more population, which is interesting. My bit rate is a bit lower than the death rate. My garbage production, I should have checked on it. Okay, I still have 30,000 capacity, more than I need. Now, I do have income of 6,000. And I have been thinking of trying out the switch from the clinics to hospitals, and whether or not that would provide better coverage. I guess I can try once more and try and see how is the difference between a hospital and a clinic, and to try and switch off the clinics that I have in here and turn on the hospital. Now this is pretty much double the cost, but let's see how is the coverage gonna be. For now I see the same color. Maybe these areas here are brighter than these. And the coverage does not even go up to here, so we'll even have to turn on this medical clinic. Yeah, this still does not look like better coverage to me. Some of the buildings are getting a bit brighter, but I would love it when I could have this color all over these areas where I have the hospital, yet that's not really happening. They go a bit brighter and they then go a bit darker. It could be that it's the influence from the noise pollution that's reducing their health. But in any event, the hospital is a higher expense than I need and it's not doing the job, so once again I will turn it off and go back to the clinics. 121,000 population still at the same level. Some new buildings, but yet the population is staying the same. Unemployment at 2%, 3,000 jobs to be filled. I guess adding more education has helped to level up a few more of the buildings, not as many as I was hoping for, but then education takes time, and so I will just give it more time to show me if it's gonna provide more leveled up buildings as their education goes up. Because they do say that they need education usually, unless they're saying that they need more land value. And the land value would be increased if I were to use high-tech housing, but as you know, that costs more than it gains you. Well, I think this would be enough for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and please stay tuned for more.